Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe vom SI Talk und heute bin ich eingeladen worden von Michael Adams vom Stock Telegraph, um bei einer Konferenz teilzunehmen, und zwar von Bayfield Ventures. Bayfield Ventures kennen die meisten von in meinem Umfeld, die gegen Abonnenten. Sie wissen, Bayfield ist schon eine lange Kunde auch vor IAW Press. Wir haben teilweise schon sind wir auf einzelne Ergebnisse eingegangen, und deswegen freut es mich auch, dass wir heute Jim Pettit da haben, der ist der CEO von Bayfield, und es ist gerade perfekt oder passt gerade perfekt rein, weil wir können ihn nächste Woche leider nicht treffen. Ich bin ja nächste Woche in Vancouver, da geht es sich leider nicht aus, und deswegen schauen wir einfach oder fühlen wir ihm über dieses Medium ein bisschen auf den Zahn, ob wirklich die Company das verspricht, was wir uns alle davon hoffen. Ja, ich gebe gleich einmal zurück zu Michael, weil er ja natürlich der Lead Runner ist des heutigen Abends, und deswegen, Michael, das ist dein Aufruf.
Yeah, hi Jim, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Our original plan was to visit you next week in Vancouver and talk to you directly, but you are traveling, so we thought it's a good idea to just hook up here on the internet, and tape a questionnaire and corporate presentation session with you. So Jim, you're the president and, you're the chairman and CEO of Bayfield Ventures, that is trading on the Tier 6 Venture, and the ticker symbol is BYV. But first, let me ask you a question. How do you pronounce your last name? Because we always say Jim Pettit, but it's probably Pettit, right?
It is Pettit, yeah.
Okay, okay.
With two T's in the middle.
Okay, but is the origin of your name, is that by the French word petit, which means small?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
Long time ago.
Okay, Jim, one of the reasons why we, or Joe and myself, invited you is that you just had some great news release out last week. You announced a drilling program for your project. So can you give us, first of all, maybe some overview on Bayfield in a nutshell, and then, of course, we want to talk in more detail about the drilling program. What are you hoping to get? What was the reason for the drill program? Because I think the market sees Bayfield as being taken out by another bigger company over time. So could you just give us a little bit more insight on the strategy?
Sure. Well, Bayfield's it's a story that's been around since, well, probably for the last 6-7 years, but since just after the collapse of the markets, the recovering year, the next year, 2009, we decided, instead of pushing for an amalgamation or some sort of an option deal with Rainy River at the time, before it was New Gold, we decided to go out and fund our own program and develop our own resource if possible, and to move forward from there. So from that point on, we have developed now a small contained resource, 43101 on the Burns block, and on the B block we've also done a 43101 technical report with a lot of recommendations. So the story for Bayfield today is really not about what we're going to do, it's what we've already done. And we do have plans to continue to drill. We have recommendations for drilling on a number of different locations between the Burns block and the B block, which are two of the properties that we have. And they're virtually within the New Gold mine site, which New Gold now owns the Rainy River project. And they're developing a very large mine basically all around us.
Right. Okay. So but I understand what you're telling us, but the market is giving you valuation not only for what you did in the past, but also what you're planning to do, right? So otherwise, I guess, and maybe that's, I would call it like the Exeter situation, yeah? So Exeter Resource, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that deal. As this was brought into the market, it was kind of a takeover play, yeah? It would be either taken out by Barrick or by Kinross, which are to the left or to the right, or to the north or to the south. But this just didn't happen. So is there something like a plan B? Yeah, if New Gold is maybe just, I'm pretty sure they want to take you out, yeah, but maybe for them it's not the right point in time. What could be like a trigger that makes them come up with an offer?
More results. That's why we're going back to drill.
Okay.
We do have two very strong zones on the Burns block that are very high grade, and so we're going in as of actually today, we're mobilizing to extend one of those zones on the east side. That's probably our highest value target, and we would have the most confidence there that we could add to what we're doing and come out with some continuation of very good grades. The market likes to see that. As far as getting New Gold, because they're really the only suitor. If you look at this map that's on the site right now, I mean, you can see the mine site, the pit plan, and the new Intrepid zone. They're all around us, and it really is a simple equation. But it's a question of market timing. When this all sort of came together, when New Gold bought Rainy River out, the markets were just beginning their downward trend, and now, you know, I think we're bottoming out here, and you know, that whole situation will turn around.
Jim, is it possible?
As far as sorry,
Jim, is it possible that New Gold started the whole mining process without your blocks?
They could, but what happens is we're in the way. We have the mineral rights. They can't impede our access in any way, shape, or form. So I've seen their mine plan, and it involves a lot of not waste but stockpiling on our ground, and that's assuming they own it.
Okay.
They have those rights. They cannot impede our progress in any way. I could show up at their door and say, look, we're going to go drill over here, move that stuff.
Maybe we should go a little bit further in the presentation. First of all, because we forgot to mention the disclaimer, the forward-looking statements, which is really essential for the whole everything Jim said and we said, and by the way, there's also some other conflict of interest. Joe, as he said, Joe is running an IOW Press, which is a news release translation agency in Germany, or the German-speaking area, and Bayfield is a client of IOW Press, and my parent company, Star IR, Star Finance, we have signed for an investor relations contract with Bayfield. So it's just to give you information, but you have to do your own research, do your own due diligence, and make up your mind if you want to invest or not. So, okay, so I think that was enough legal information, right? Yeah, but it's really important, right? So, this is just an overview. Let me just see. So you have like fully diluted like 90 million shares out, giving you a market cap of roughly, what is it, like 18 million?
17.
Fully diluted, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fully diluted market cap. The difference between fully diluted and the issued and outstanding shares is basically the difference in, there's a lot of options there because management doesn't draw large salaries out of this company. It's still very much a junior. And there's been the last round of financing, 2 rounds, we've included warrants. And those are virtually the first time we've issued warrants with the financings on this.
Oh, okay.
So how much cash you have at the moment?
Currently there's about $1 million. We've got $500,000 we need to spend before the end of this year. So that's hence we were planning on drilling this year, so we're starting now. It's the best time to do it.
Oh, okay. We see now market cap of New Gold is around 3 billion, 3.3 billion. So for them is nothing to acquire you, especially with share deal or whatever in cash or whatever. Yeah. So to better understand, if we have here a graphic, here is perfect graphic. What the New Gold must invest for the whole mining plan? What is? Do you know the cost? What they must invest?
The cost structure for the capex. Basically,
the capex.
It's now coming in at about 800 million.
So for them it's not a big difference if it's 800 or 840.
This is a rounding error.
Yeah.
This is like a rounding error, and it's. I have talked to them several times, and it is just a question of this is not Crown land in Canada, which is owned by the federal government. This is private farms. So they've been acquiring up all the land, and it's virtually a 10 square kilometer area.
Okay.
They're not going to buy us until they've acquired all the other ground, because we would inflate, basically the way I see it, we would inflate the cost of purchasing the other ground from them.
Okay, but you just mentioned that you are in talks. Of course, you are in talks with New Gold. But how would you summarize your relationship with those guys? Is it like friendly, or are they trying to play games, or?
I think they're just following their own plan. I mean, they're a much bigger company than us. They are a good, solid mid-tier to large mining company. I've had good relations with the Rainy River people, the fellow running Rainy River is also on the board of New Gold. And their corporate development guy, I talk to him regularly.
Okay, but let's see the guys on the ground. Yeah, are they having beers together in the evening, or not? Just asking. Yeah, because that could help.
You know, when we go in there to work, we go through also their, the safety protocol. They have it all set up, so our guys, we know them quite well. The ground guys, they all know each other.
Okay.
One other question. You own not the surface rights, you have only the
mineral rights.
The mineral rights.
Yeah. And the key to understand there is in Ontario, the mining rights are extremely, they almost have a priority, especially now because we've had the mineral rights for years. They've only just acquired the surface rights. And many of our rights to the minerals supersede their surface rights. And it's a fairly recent change in the Act, too, in Ontario.
Okay.
But we can access, there's no limitation to access or anything like that.
Yeah, that was actually, I have asked my readers when I was announcing this web conference actually for yesterday, right? It didn't really work out because of technical issues. I asked them to submit a couple of questions, and one of the questions I got was, where is that? Can New Gold limit the access to your property because your project is surrounded?
No. The short answer would be no. According to my legal people in Toronto, based on some of the new changes to the Act, especially because we've had the mining rights for several years now, and they've only just acquired the B and the Burns block in the last couple of years, would almost be viewed as claim jumping. They can go ahead with plans to develop, but they can impede my access.
Okay.
It's pretty cut and dry.
Okay.
I have informed them we're going in to drill. There is issue of crossing ground, et cetera, but that highway that you see, that's a township highway.
You can use the pointer if you want to use. You can use the pointer.
The pointer.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this road here is a township road. It will eventually be moved, but I can drive right up, and their pit design right here, it stops right at our border. And we can access from this side, or our core shack is actually just up over here, and we can actually access the property from this side as well.
Okay.
So, Jim, what you're planning now with this drill campaign? What is
this particular drill program? We're going to test the uphill extension. This zone right here we discovered as we call it the Intrepid Zone. They also call this new zone of theirs the Intrepid Zone, and this will be this is basically where they're going to introduce their underground mining. Mm-hmm. This is not going to be part of a pit. They thought about it in here for a while, but now it's looking like it's going to be all underground, and it'll raise the overall grade because they'll blend it with the lower grade pit, which is over here. This is like an extension of this, basically. It comes we've drilled it right to the property. We've got a few gaps in here we'd like to test, and we've got a down plunge extension we'd like to test. The grades in here are as spectacular as the grades that we were hitting over here when we first started.
Okay.
And I'm talking grades of multi-ounce.
Right. I got another question from Mr. Schneider here in Germany, and he's asking, I think he's referring to the announcement of the drill program, and he asks, how many meters of drilling are you going to do, or are you planning, and what's your cost per meter to drill?
Our costs, we're going to do I think it'll work out to about 3,000 meters.
Okay.
We're spending $500,000. So, we've got, actually it might even be more than 3,000 right now. Donnie and the guys are all in the field, so I'm trying to get a final workout out of it. But our cost per ounce per meter in this area, because We don't need a camp. They drive in. They're 10 minutes away in a hotel.
Yeah.
Coming in around $95 to $100 a meter. So
Okay.
we'll play it by ear. We'll see how many meters we can get, but we'll be looking at 3,000. Yeah.
How deep you must drill, or you will drill?
Well, it'll depend where, because this structure right here is near surface up here, and it's down to about 700 meters down here. So it's coming up. This wraps around very close to surface, but think of it like a plane, like a zone that's on an angle dipping towards the southwest, I guess it would be. And so their holes would be right over top of it to coming back this way and drilling this way. So, the whole thing is plunging towards the south-southwest. And so the further south towards our border, the deeper it is.
Okay. So are you going to do diamond drilling or RC?
This is diamond drilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if you want to move forward in the presentation, I'm not sure which other slides are in there. So.
There's just this just basically reviews what we just talked about. We own 100% of the mineral rights. This gives you a regional plan view of the property ownership. The olive color is New Gold's. I don't know if they still own all this, but they had purchased it all from Newinsko many years ago.
That's really impressive. That's really impressive grades in these intercepts.
These are spectacular. We started drilling on the Burns block just up in this north corner, and it took us till about the 18th hole. And then we hit this one here, 10 meters of these grades, 36 grams. I mean, that was spectacular. That was down in this corner down here. And then, so if I go back to this map, it would have been down here, and you can see the concentration of holes. And we were drilling very tightly spaced holes, because if you stepped out either way 25 meters, you would be out of this zone. So we were down to 10 to 15 meters step outs and trying to stay in the zone, and very much what they were doing to find all these zones here. And there are about 5 of these high-grade chutes, we call them, that are oriented this way. They have one coming through here, they got one coming through here, and then they've got the really high-grade one out to this side out here. And then in between them all is your basite unit, which is all the bulk tonnage grades. But you'd get it mixed with this stuff, and it's pretty spectacular. And their pit, I think, is designed right now to go down to 550 meters. So they'll capture a lot of that, and then they're talking about doing underground mining underneath the pit, and then they've come up with this, which is adding more tonnage at a much higher grade. So,
Jim, one question. What is the timeline for the new gold mine? When they want to start the construction?
Their permitting should be in place late fall this year. They're hoping. It's much easier if they don't have holes in the permit, which would be us. They are looking at a build decision early in the new year. So they'll be ready to go, and you could see building starting and next year, and production be probably 2016, unless it's been pushed back further, but I am not aware of that.
So this mean the perfect timing for new gold is really in the the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, I understand because of the market influence and the dropping in all the prices, and I mean, let's not say it. New gold.
It's not only a dropping of the price.
I'm up here. Here we go.
Okay, perfect. There. That was a great coincidence.
Yeah.
And now we're up in the sky.
Yeah, that's where the prices are going to go. But they started, they were $13 bucks. They're trading well right now in the $6 range, $6 to $6.50.
Right.
We've come from at that point in time, probably from 70-cent range down to where we are today.
Yep.
And actually have held up. Our volumes is it's been pretty good compared to a lot of others. But it is what it is. I mean, the price is the price, and we did this 43-101 to give an idea of what we have, and we did it the same way they've done theirs. So we split the resource above 500 and below 500 meters. So you've got two different zonations basically, and that would be, and below that you get higher grades, and above that you can include more into your resource. And it would be similar to what their pit was, and we use the same cutoffs. If we had done one continuous resource for the whole property, it probably would have been more, but it would have been a lower grade. So we're using their model. They can tap into these two zones very easily. They can move the pit to the west or to their east, and on this side, as far as an underground scenario goes, they can tap right into this. So the way I look at these is a very strategic valuation for them. The cost, basically their costs can be viewed as already sunk. They could pick this up very inexpensively. So if you look at where we are today and you look at what they've paid in the past for terms of premium, this is actually a really good deal for them.
How much ounces you have so far confirmed in the 43-101 report?
Well, based on the above 5 and below 5, so you get some inferred and indicated, there's a couple 100,000 ounces. If we had just done one blanket, one global resource, it would have probably, I don't want to speculate, but probably over 300.
Yeah, there's a slide I think in the presentation later on. But maybe you just mentioned that Bayfield has suffered, but not as bad as many of the other juniors. And as we all know, aside from the quality of the project, it's always quality of the people. And I know that especially you yourself, you are very well connected within the mining industry. But maybe you can give us some insight about the other guys involved in the deal.
Yeah, well, Don Houston is the president. He's got 30 years. He was born and raised in Red Lake, Ontario. He spent most of his youth, other than being in a rock and roll band for a while, he spent his time in the bush. And he knows everybody in the contract side of the business, the contractors. So he runs the field. He oversees all that, and it allows me to spend my time dealing with the finance side and the market side. And then Bob Marvin, he's actually from Reno. He lives in Reno, but he spent much of his career in this area, the hard rock area of the Precambrian belt. So he's not your typical Nevada geologist. He's got a lot of background up here in Canada.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and as I mentioned, you have a pretty strong and a large network within the industry, and I got two comments, and they are kind of a little bit critical from two readers, but still, we are also here not just not to cuddle, but and he said okay, Jim is juggling around too many balls. He should just focus on running Bayfield. I think that refers to that you also are a director on a couple of other companies, which can be good or bad. I see it as more positive because this shows that you are really very well connected. But I think the reason for this question was, or for this criticism was, that in Germany it's quite unusual that one guy is wearing several caps, while in North America it's quite usual, right?
Yeah. Well, Bayfield is my primary concern. I act as maybe a chairman of some of these other companies or an independent director. So my involvement is very limited. I can give them input to the decision-making process. I do have a network that helps everybody get funded, that sort of thing. and they're all run out of the same office here. So it's just I don't view it as something that because I am very cognizant of it, and I get that question quite a bit. But I don't. It doesn't hinder what I'm doing with Bayfield.
Okay.
Because Bayfield is getting 99% of my time.
Okay. No, that's good. But again, it's not only, we also want guys who have like different views, to be able to ask their questions,
sure.
right? Yeah.
No, I get it all the time. I get it when,
okay.
I go to the Casey conference. It's Doug Casey
right.
in North America here. And, I get that question from them. They understand it now. They see it. Because in
cool.
hard times, we hit hard times. It helps to finance these companies if you have
the
ability to do it. A lot of guys right now in this industry, they don't have that ability.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Okay, so we just moved forward in the presentation. Now we're on slide 9. Is there anything special you want to add there, or just
the C block is way off to the west, outside of the map, even the map image. It's quite a ways to our west. It's off the sequence of rocks that host the mineralized zone that's being developed by New Gold. We have put a few holes in it just to determine the type of rock. It's in early sediment. It's not what we're looking for. We did see that there is some faults and some shearing and that sort of thing, but it's not exactly what we want to be looking at. So we've got it out there. We don't spend a lot of time with it. It's part of our package when it's if we ever get bought out, that's going to go with it.
Okay.
It's a little too far out and a little too far south.
Okay. Just move forward when you feel you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah. This slide gives you an indication of the mineralized zone. If this represents the B block, you can see the amount. These represent veining. This is veining and shearing, and it's called a dacite unit, and it shifts to the north. It swings up to the north. That's our B block. It's only 450 meters to our north and east. And it's doing that because of this here. It's called the Black Hawk Stock, and it's a big granite intrusion that came in after the emplacement of this mineralization. So we do have a chance of hitting something. We've done limited drilling up in here. This is the area that's got us interested through here. We need to do more. There's some tremendous recommendations in the 43-101 that we did for this property. It wasn't a resource calculation. It was strictly, let's see what they're going to tell us. And it's virtually open at depth. We haven't drilled anything below 250 meters. We have hit a lot of this veining. We have hit reasonably good grades over narrower intersections than we would hit, say down in here and over here. But it definitely warrants more work, and we're keeping that for probably next year.
Okay.
Gives us something to keep going on, because if we stop doing anything, then there's no urgency to get anything done.
Yeah, right.
And so the B block basically is this is what I was just talking about here.
Yep.
I keep going back to this picture because this is in this PowerPoint 3 times, as well as being the cover, because that tells a story. I believe in graphic images more than writing on PowerPoints, and this basically tells it all. I mean, this is, if you go to their New Gold's feasibility study, you'll find, I think it's page 68, you'll find their mine plan. Well, this is where the mill goes right here, the pit stops right here, the Intrepid zone's all right here, and the roads all go around us.
Okay.
This is a plan view of the Burns block, what we've done to date. There's about 100,000 meters of drilling, so we've basically designed the zone through here, and then another one developing through here, and that's what we're going in to try to extend up plunge and down plunge.
Okay.
This is what we've talked about. The thing about this is we've got a tremendous amount that we've got to offer now, over 7 grams gold and 150 grams silver.
Yeah.
More highlights. Hole 71 was spectacular. This is only 30 meters deep. 25 meters in thickness of 26 grams and 170 grams of silver.
Yeah.
And you can see this as you go down. This is all on the western zone, very high grade. Here's a cross section, section view, but we've superimposed on all the planes on one, so you can see the direction. If we were standing on the west boundary looking east, that's hole 71. This would be hole 18, and you can see in the gaps are caused by there's faulting, so it's actually on a different plane. But you can see basically how it goes, and there's actually more room to drill in there, believe it or not. It's not somewhere I'm going to run back to because I think it's fairly evident. The New Gold chased this off the property, off our property, for about 1,500 meters.
Okay.
On the east burns our Intrepid zone, very similar to what we just looked at on the west side. Same type of thing, looking actually from the same direction, from the west to the east. Gives you an idea of what we're developing here. A little harder to see, but these, all the red is over 5 grams. So we're going to testing up into here. These are just on different planes, so it doesn't mean that, it's just a question of the angle. We got to hit it right. And then we were having success on our last drill program. We stopped in October last year. We stopped right here. So we're going to carry on some more. This is quite technical. They're quite vertical, and then we let the drill just deviate on its own, and you just hit this thing at the right angle, and boom. And this is the sort of a cross-section. You can see the grade change and the continuity of it. It's very good. This is really good for underground mining. Just an idea overall, some of the better grades.
I think some of these junior mining companies, they wish they had only one of these intercepts.
Oh yeah, that's what you want.
So
it'll get you going, and often what happens, you hit one of those and you're stock. Well, that's what we did in
right.
18.
Yeah.
We're in the thick of the market, the really hot, booming bull market, and we hit that hole 18, 10 grams of basically 1 ounce, 10 meters of 1 ounce, and it was every single meter. The stock went to $1.40.
Yeah.
Overnight and traded 150 million shares when there was only 42 million out. What does that tell you?
It's unbelievable, huh?
A lot of trading going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is an idea of the resource. So if you look at these two numbers here, you can see. I mean, it's 200. It's a couple $100 million in added value to them. And there it goes. Here I am.
Perfect.
Anyways, it's a couple $100 million in added value to them.
Right.
Yes, you've got their costs are now down to, I believe it's close to $700 an ounce. So, and I view it as being very strategic. They've got those costs already sunk. What I've got is virtually tied on to what they've got.
Jim, one question from my side. Coming back to the share structure, what price was the last financing?
25.
25.
Yeah,
okay.
25 cents, and I think I did a 25.5-cent warrant.
Okay.
And it was just right at the end of a cycle we had before the summer started that we could get this done, and it was the warrant, I think, that really sold it.
Okay.
And what was the finance before? So
before that, 27.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Back to this map.
Right, I was just about to say I recognize this.
I like this map. So, this is just some of the idea. Here's the size of the New Gold deposit. People don't know what it is. It's 106 million tons at virtually 1.5 grams, and 2.8 grams a ton silver, representing 5.2 million ounces of gold and almost 10 million ounces of silver.
Okay.
They chose to push this one forward and put the Blackwater in BC on hold. The Blackwater's a bigger mine, but its capex was going to be well over $1 billion. This one is a smaller mine, way better infrastructure, power, roads, proximity to workforce. They're right there. It's way lower cost environment. So they're pushing ahead with this one, even though it's smaller, but it makes more sense. It's their capex. Right now, it's all about costs, and it's a much lower cost structure than the BC mine. It'll get built one day, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And our strategic valuation is all based on location.
Right. So if the viewers want to get more information, this is the contact data for Bayfield. You can talk, of course, to Jim personally or to Don O'Reilly. There's the phone number and the website. It's bayfieldventures.com. Quite easy. Maybe to summarize, not to summarize this, but like the possible or potential takeout by New Gold, do you think that could be like an equity deal or a straight cash deal or a combination? So if you can dream, what would be a dream sheet for this deal?
I would love it to be stock, because I think a lot of our current shareholders are, very good gold people, good shareholders. They love gold. They would love to get stock in New Gold. Many of them are probably already shareholders in New Gold. That's another point that New Gold, is probably aware of, is our shareholder base would be actually very good for their stock. But I suspect it would be cash, because it's not a lot of money. If you take our current market cap with a premium, and then the last ones, the previous transaction was done at, I think there was a 40% premium, somewhere around there, 38 to 42%.
Okay.
It's in the realm of cash, and I do know that they are very, very conscious of dilution.
Okay.
They're at a critical stage, so they're very conscious of that. So, yeah, I would love stock, but it'll probably be cash.
Yeah.
Jim is...
And that's just speculation on my part. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think there is a minimum number what you expect that you as a CEO can really go with some offer from New Gold?
Well, I don't know if I can actually even go down that road.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even think it would be fair for me to speculate.
Okay.
But something around the all-time high would be comfortable, right?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
We want to wait another 10 years or so.
Yeah. Maybe there's, and that's actually the last comment I have on my agenda from one of my readers. And he said like, hey, no, how should I put that? He understands why the market cap of Bayfield is so low, because those guys are awfully quiet in shareholder communication. I guess what he's referring to is not really shareholder communication, but the lack of news flow over the last couple of months.
Well, so we haven't really done anything since last October.
Yep.
Other than put out the 43-101. We were going to try to start drilling in September. September looked like an awful time to be drilling and putting news out, because there wasn't anybody listening. So we waited till now. Now you're going to start hearing about us again.
Yeah, and I think that there will be more eyeballs start to refollow the story, and there will be hopefully more traction in the market, because now you can come up with news with drill results, something exciting. I totally get it.
Like I told you, I am leaving tomorrow to go to the conference, Doug Casey's conference in San Antonio, Texas, for an update. I've got to give an update.
Do you have your Stetson with you?
Our largest block of shareholders is the Doug Casey's people.
Do you have your Stetson with you?
Oh yeah, I got everything.
Boots, belt.
Yeah.
That's good. Please take a picture for us. Okay, so I think that's it from my end. Jim, the stage is yours if you want to add something to the German audience especially.
No, I just think it speaks for itself. It's a matter of timing. It's a matter of time. And it's not something that can be avoided forever. It's just, it will happen.
Right. Okay. So Joe and myself, we would like to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. And yeah, we will catch up with you over the next couple of weeks or months. Whenever there's something moving on with the company, we will be happy to bring you back on this kind of interview.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and we
That'd be
keep.
great.
And we keep fingers crossed, yeah, that New
Yeah.
Gold will come up with an offer rather sooner than later.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Joe. Yep.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
So, jetzt noch ein kurzes Mal Summary. Für mich ist die Sache eigentlich relativ leicht erklärt. Schauen wir uns nochmal die Map, also die Map an, also die Karte. Fällt schon gar nicht mehr das deutsche Wort ein. In den nächsten 3 bis 6 Monate, wenn New Gold das Projekt in Produktion bringen will, bleibt fast nichts anderes übrig, als wie das Bayfield übernimmt. Ich habe jetzt einmal so eine kleine Kalkulation angestellt, habe einmal $100 Unzen in Ground genommen. Dann komme ich leicht einmal auf 33, 35 Cent pro Aktie. Das wären sogar deutlich mehr als diese 40-50%, was er gesprochen hat, was ein Aufschlag momentan für Übernahmen ist. Also von daher eher in die Gegend von 30 bis 35 Cent könnte ich mir vorstellen, dass jetzt was kommen wird. Und wie gesagt, wenn New Gold die Decision macht, dieses Projekt in Produktion zu bringen, dann ist es zu 99% wahrscheinlich, sage ich jetzt einmal von der jetzigen Standpoint, dass Bayfield übernommen wird, und der Minenplan bei New Gold zeigt ja auch an, dass teilweise dieses also dieser Burns-Block und B-Block auch teilweise für Stockpiling und so weiter verwendet wird. Also haben die in ihrem Minenplan eigentlich schon einkalkuliert, dass sie Bayfield übernehmen, und die Capex-Kosten liegen irgendwo bei 800 Millionen, und da ist es egal, ob die Company, also Bayfield, Nummer 30 Millionen dazukommt, das ist Körpergeld. Also von daher ist das für mich eine klare Sache. In den nächsten 3 bis 6 Monate wird Bayfield vom Markt verschwinden, und dann ist wieder eine Company erledigt, und das nächste Projekt wird kommen. Das war von meiner Seite, schauen Sie sich das an. Der Kollege Adams wird mir jetzt nochmal gleich sagen, was das Kürzel in Deutschland ist. In Vancouver ist es auf jeden Fall BYV.
Genau, in Deutschland
Venture, und in Deutschland ist
B4N, Bertha 4 Nordpol.
Hast du die WKN auch?
Ja, die 509 728, weil ich bin ja vorbereitet, Herr Brunner. Den musste ich dir reindrücken.
Deswegen hat man immer einen Assistenten an der Seite, der das genau weiß, und deswegen habe ich das. So, ich wünsche Ihnen einen schönen Abend und einen schönen Tag, und wir hören uns in Kürze. Tschüss.